The day begins the same way it always does, with a screen. Your alarm buzzes and your phone lights up, quietly logging your first interaction of the day. A notification appears, a reminder that even in your sleep, the world was watching. You check your messages, scroll through your feed, and for a brief moment, it feels like you're in control. But every tap, every swipe, every like is feeding a system you can't see. Your location, your preferences, your private conversations, they're all being recorded, analyzed, and sold. At work, the monitoring continues. Your keystrokes are tracked, your emails scanned. Cameras on every corner ensure you're always within sight, while algorithms decide what you see, what you believe, and even what you desire. And when you speak, you wonder, is it safe to share your thoughts? Is anyone listening? Could your words be used against you tomorrow? In 1949, George Orwell imagined a future where surveillance, censorship, and control were inescapable. Today, his vision feels closer than ever. From data tracking to internet censorship, from social credit systems to the erosion of privacy, Orwell's warnings echo loudly in the world we live in. So, are we living in the novel 1984? Imagine this. Every email you send, every phone call you make, and every website you visit, it's all being watched. In 2013, Edward Snowden revealed how deeply surveillance penetrated our lives. Programs like PRISM and X-Keyscore collected data on a global scale. They didn't just target suspected criminals. They swept up phone records, emails, and internet activity from millions of ordinary people. Suddenly, the idea of privacy felt like a relic of the past. Snowden's revelations showed how governments, like Orwell's party, use fear and control to justify constant surveillance. In 1984, the telescreens watched every move, ensuring no one stepped out of line. Today, that telescreen is in your pocket, a device you willingly carry everywhere, always on, always listening. But governments aren't the only ones watching. Think about the apps on your phone. Platforms like Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram aren't free. You pay with your data. Every like, every comment, every swipe is logged. Algorithms study your behavior, building a detailed profile of who you are, what you want, and how to influence you. This isn't just about selling ads. It's about shaping what you believe and how you see the world. Take Cambridge Analytica, for example. In 2018, it was revealed that this company used Facebook data from millions of users to influence elections. Orwell's concept of manipulating truth and rewriting history now plays out on our screens, with algorithms deciding which truth you see based on your browsing history. And then there's the physical world. Modern cities are covered in surveillance cameras. In places like China, these cameras are paired with facial recognition technology and tied to the social credit system. Your movements, purchases, even social interactions are tracked. A missed loan payment, jaywalking, or posting something critical online can lower your score and restrict your access to basic services. This isn't confined to China. In the West, surveillance is becoming normalized. Smart cities use similar technologies to track traffic and monitor public spaces. Governments argue it's for safety, but how much freedom are we sacrificing for security? In Orwell's 1984, surveillance wasn't just about watching, it was about control. Today, the line between safety and control is blurrier than ever. Governments, corporations, and algorithms are all competing to know more about us. The question we need to ask is, who's watching? And what are they doing with what they see? In the novel 1984, The main character, Winston Smith, struggles to hold on to his own understanding of truth. He quietly collects scraps of forbidden memory, an old photograph, a half-remembered event, knowing that voicing these thoughts could mean his disappearance. The party doesn't just punish him, it erases him. The threat of total exclusion from society, from history itself, keeps him from sharing what he knows. Today, while we don't have a literal memory hole, exclusion can still be swift and decisive. On social media platforms, accounts are suspended, voices are banned, and communities close ranks against those expressing unpopular or inconvenient truths. Consider medical professionals during the COVID-19 pandemic. Some doctors and researchers saw their posts removed or accounts suspended simply for presenting findings or opinions that diverged from official guidelines. Even nuanced, scientifically grounded perspectives were flagged as misinformation. In this environment, valuable insights vanished before they could inform public debate. If Winston were alive now, perhaps he wouldn't face a totalitarian regime's brutal force, but he might see his posts removed, his platform access revoked, and his audience vanish with a few keystrokes. Decisions made not by a state apparatus, but often in the private offices of social media corporations. He would find himself once again alone in his private struggle, watching as collective memory is curated not by an official ministry of truth, but by algorithms, user reports, and corporate policies. In both cases, Orwell's world and our own, losing your voice can mean losing your place in the public conversation, leaving truth more fragile than ever. Imagine looking at your newsfeed and believing you're seeing the world as it is. In truth, you're seeing a world curated just for you. Every click, every like, every pause on a video teaches the algorithm something about your interests, your fears, and your hopes. Over time, this digital profile becomes a filter through which reality is presented. It doesn't matter if you're searching for political insights, health advice, or cultural commentary. The algorithm's goal is to keep you engaged, not necessarily informed. Unlike Orwell's Ministry of Truth, these algorithms don't use overt force. They simply show you what they predict you want to see, subtly narrowing the range of perspectives you encounter. The voices and viewpoints that don't align with your established profile slip into silence, never crossing your screen. Without conscious effort, you may never know how thoroughly your understanding of the world has been shaped or rewritten by a system designed not for truth, but for profit and attention. This personalization has profound consequences. As we settle into our curated corners of the internet, the shared ground needed for meaningful dialogue erodes. Your truth may differ entirely from your neighbor's. In this fragmented landscape, facts and narratives, once fixed points, become fluid, easily swayed by subtle digital influences running quietly behind every screen. In 1984, truth was dictated openly by a totalitarian state. Today, truth slips through invisible hands. Algorithms, user-driven content moderation, corporate policies, each nudging us toward a perspective tailored to our patterns, not our principles. The result is a world where we question which narrative is real and who, if anyone, is telling the whole story. Yet this is not a foregone conclusion. If we can learn from Orwell's warnings, we can also draw inspiration from humanity's capacity for resilience and critical thought. We may not face an all-powerful party dictating every fact, but we live in a world where truth competes with countless voices and motives, and we can still choose how we engage with it. Cultivating digital literacy is our starting point. Instead of passively consuming the content curated for us, we can question sources, ask who benefits from certain narratives, and actively seek out alternative perspectives. Fact-checking, comparing credible information, and engaging with those who disagree helps us rebuild the common ground that echo chambers erode. We can support transparent journalism, demand ethical standards from tech companies, and push for policies that protect privacy and intellectual diversity. We can celebrate whistleblowers, empower investigative reporters, and champion educators who teach media literacy skills. By fostering spaces, both online and offline, where civil debate thrives and differences are discussed rather than dismissed, we strengthen our collective understanding. In 1984, Winston's world offered no safe haven for free inquiry. Today, we still have choices. We can strive to see beyond curated feeds, manipulated narratives, and comfortable illusions. By embracing curiosity, skepticism, and compassion, we step out of the shadows that Orwell feared would consume us. We reclaim our agency in shaping not only our own truths, but also the broader reality we share. Ultimately, the legacy of 1984 isn't just about warning us of what might happen, it's about reminding us of what we can still prevent. While we may not live in Orwell's world, we inherit his cautionary tale as a call to vigilance, dialogue, and principled action. In standing guard over our access to truth, protecting freedom of thought, respecting legitimate expertise, and valuing diverse perspectives, we ensure that the future remains ours to shape. The question Orwell posed still resonates, but the answer now rests in our hands.